You want to know what real strength looks like? It's not in the gym, not in the boardroom, and definitely not on social media. It's in the single parent who manages to smile while serving dinner, despite not having eaten themselves. It's in the person battling invisible illnesses who still shows up to support others. It's in the survivor who chooses to trust again when experience has taught them otherwise. We've been measuring strength by the wrong metrics, celebrating the wrong victories. And in doing so, we've failed to recognize the extraordinary courage it takes to simply survive in a world that often feels too heavy to bear. The last time you looked in the mirror, what did you see? Most would say they saw the reflection, their physical form staring back at them, but I want you to think deeper, beyond the surface, beyond the visible scars and wrinkles that tell the story of your years lived. What did you really see? Did you see the warrior who got up this morning despite feeling broken inside? Did you acknowledge the survivor who has weathered countless storms and still found the strength to show up? Or did you only focus on the imperfections, the perceived flaws, the parts of yourself you've been conditioned to criticize? You see, we become masters at diminishing our own resilience. We downplay the extraordinary courage it takes to simply exist in a world that often feels overwhelming. We brush aside the profound strength required to keep breathing, keep moving, keep hoping, even when everything inside us wants to give up. Think about that for a moment. Think about every single time you wanted to quit but didn't. Every time you felt like you couldn't take another step, but somehow found the will to keep walking. Every time your heart was shattered, yet you gathered those pieces and held them together long enough to heal. That's not just survival. That's raw, unfiltered power. But we don't recognize it as such because we've been programmed to believe that strength only comes in grand gestures and dramatic victories. We've been taught that courage wears a cape and arrives with fanfare. The truth, real strength often comes wrapped in silence. It's in the parent who spends another sleepless night caring for a sick child despite their own exhaustion. It's in the individual who faces another day at a job they've outgrown because they're responsible for putting food on the table. It's in the person who chooses to forgive when holding on to bitterness would be easier. These aren't small acts. These are monuments to human resilience. Yet, how many of us discount these daily demonstrations of courage? How many of us wave them away as just doing what needs to be done? Let me share something with you. In my work with thousands of people across the globe, I've noticed a recurring pattern. The ones who've survived the most profound challenges often struggle the most to recognize their own strength. They'll tell me about enduring abuse, overcoming addiction, battling chronic illness, or rebuilding their lives from scratch. And then in the next breath, they'll say, but I haven't done anything special. Nothing special. Living through trauma isn't special. Getting up every morning when your mind is screaming at you to stay in bed isn't special. Choosing to trust again after betrayal isn't special. Who told you these weren't extraordinary acts of courage? You see, we've been sold a lie. We've been told that strength is measured by how much we can bench press, how many zeros are in our bank account, or how many followers we have on social media. But true strength is measured in breaths taken when breathing feels impossible. It's measured in tears shed and then wiped away to face another day. It's measured in the quiet determination to keep going when every fiber of your being wants to stop. Every single person in this room has survived 100 of their worst days. Think about that. Every panic attack that felt like it would never end, you survived it. Every heartbreak that felt like it would kill you, you survived it. Every failure that felt like it would define you, you survived it. And not only did you survive, but you're here right now, still moving forward, still seeking growth, still believing in the possibility of better days. That's not just survival. That's spectacular resilience, but we don't celebrate it enough. We don't acknowledge the warrior within who keeps fighting these silent battles. Instead, we focus on what we haven't achieved, where we haven't reached, where we haven't become. When was the last time you stopped to appreciate your own journey? When did you last acknowledge the mountains you've climbed, the demons you've faced, the fears you've conquered? When did you last look at yourself with genuine admiration for all the times you could have given up, but didn't? You might be thinking, but I'm still struggling. I'm still not where I want to be. I'm still fighting the same battles. And to that, I say, the fact that you're still fighting is exactly what makes you remarkable. It's easy to fight when victory is assured. It's easy to keep going when the path is clear. True courage is continuing to move forward when you can't see the end, when you're not sure if you're even going in the right direction, when everything in your path seems to be pushing you back. Each time you choose to try again, each time you refuse to let your past define your future, each time you reach out for help instead of drowning in silence, you're exhibiting extraordinary strength. These aren't small victories. These are the foundation stones of transformation. Here's something crucial to understand. Your strength isn't measured by the absence of weakness. It's not measured by how few times you fall. Your strength is measured by your willingness to keep getting up, to keep trying, to keep believing in the possibility of better days. Even when experience has given you every reason to doubt. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you, who move you, who make you believe in the goodness of humanity. I'd bet that what draws you to them isn't their perfection, it's their resilience. It's not their absence of struggles. It's how they face those struggles. It's not their immunity to pain. It's how they've transformed their pain into purpose. And yet somehow we deny ourselves the same admiration. We look at our own battles, our own resilience, our own transformations, and we minimize them. We dismiss them as just getting by or doing what anyone would do. But is that true? Is survival really such a common, unremarkable thing? Ask anyone who stood at the edge of giving up what it took to take one more step forward. Ask anyone who's fought their way back from rock bottom what it took to believe in possibilities again. Ask anyone who's reinvented themselves what it took to let go of who they were to become who they could be. These aren't small feats. These aren't ordinary accomplishments. These are sacred acts of courage that deserve to be honored, celebrated, and recognized for what they truly are, testament to the indomitable human spirit. But here's where many of us get stuck. We're waiting for permission to acknowledge our own strength. We're waiting for someone else to validate our journey, to tell us that what we've endured matters, that how far we've come is significant. We're waiting for external confirmation of what our hearts already know. That surviving isn't just existing. It's triumphing over countless moments that could have broken us completely. Let me tell you something that might shock you. You don't need anyone's permission to honor your journey. You don't need external validation to recognize the warrior within you. Every scar you carry, every tear you've shed, every time you've picked yourself up off the ground, these are your medals of honor. These are the proof of your resilience, the evidence of your unwavering spirit. Think about the darkest moment of your life. That moment when everything seemed hopeless, when the pain felt unbearable, when you couldn't see any way forward. Now look at where you are today. You're not just existing, you're here seeking growth, pursuing understanding, reaching for something more. That journey from there to here, that's not just time passing. That's you choosing life, choosing hope, choosing to believe in possibilities, even when reality gave you every reason to doubt. But some of you might be thinking, I'm still in that dark place. I haven't overcome my struggles. I'm still fighting the same battles. And to you, I say this, the fact that you're still fighting is itself an act of immense courage. Do you understand what it means to keep going when everything inside you wants to give up? Do you realize the strength it takes to face another day when your past experiences have taught you to expect pain? Every morning you get out of bed, despite depression whispering, stay down. That's strength. Every time you reach out to someone, despite anxiety screaming, stay hidden, that's courage. Every time you try again, despite past failures mocking, why bother, that's resilience. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means never falling, never failing, never showing vulnerability. But true strength isn't about being invincible. It's about being broken and finding ways to piece yourself back together. It's about being scared and moving forward anyway. It's about being unsure and still taking that next step. Consider for a moment what it takes to trust again after betrayal, to love again after loss, to dream again after disappointment. These aren't just emotional decisions, they're acts of profound courage. They require us to override our survival instincts, to push past our protective barriers, to choose hope over fear. And yet, how many of us discount these choices? How many of us brush them aside as just life or what anyone would do? But is that true? Is everyone choosing to remain open despite being hurt? Is everyone choosing to try again despite failing? Is everyone choosing to believe in better possibilities despite evidence to the contrary? The truth is, survival isn't passive. It's not something that just happens to us. It's a series of active choices we make every single day. Every time we choose not to let bitterness take root in our hearts, every time we decide to see setbacks as setups for comebacks, every time we opt for growth over comfort, we're actively participating in our own survival and transformation. But here's where many of us need to shift our perspective. Stop waiting to arrive at some imaginary destination before you acknowledge your strength. Stop postponing the recognition of your resilience until you've achieved some arbitrary goal. Your strength isn't in the destination. It's in the journey. It's in every step you take, every obstacle you face, every time you choose to keep going despite having every reason to stop. Think about the strength it takes to be vulnerable in a world that often punishes openness. Think about the courage it requires to remain gentle in a world that often mistakes kindness for weakness. Think about the resilience needed to keep believing in good when you've experienced so much of the bad. These aren't small things. These aren't ordinary choices. These are revolutionary acts of courage that deserve to be recognized and celebrated. You might be sitting there thinking, but I've made so many mistakes. I've failed so many times. I've taken so many wrong turns. And to that, I say, your mistakes don't diminish your strength, they prove it. Every time you've failed and gotten back up, every time you've made a mistake and learned from it, every time you've taken a wrong turn and found your way back, you've demonstrated resilience. Your strength isn't measured by how few mistakes you make, but by how you handle them when you do make them. It's not about how rarely you fall, but about how you rise when you do fall. It's not about how seldom you get lost, but about how you find your way back when you do get lost. Here's something crucial to understand. Your struggles don't make you weak. They make you human. Your vulnerabilities don't make you less worthy. They make you more authentic. Your scars don't make you damaged. They make you experienced. They are proof that you face life's challenges and survived them. Would you tell someone else they were weak for struggling with anxiety? Would you tell another person they were failing because they're still fighting depression? Would you dismiss someone else's journey because they haven't reached their destination yet? Then why do you speak to yourself with such harsh judgment? Why do you deny yourself the same compassion you'd readily offer others? Every day, you're writing your survival story. Every breath you take, every step forward, every time you choose hope over despair, you're demonstrating a strength that many don't recognize until they're forced to find it within themselves. But here's what's fascinating. This strength isn't something you need to build. It's already within you. It's been there all along, proven by the simple fact that you're still here, still moving, still striving. Consider the times in your life when you thought you couldn't go on, but you did. The moments when you felt completely broken, but you weren't. The situations that seemed impossible to overcome, yet somehow you overcame them. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was your innate strength revealing itself precisely when you needed it most. But perhaps you're thinking, I don't feel strong. Most days I feel like I'm barely hanging on. Let me share something profound with you. Strength isn't always about feeling powerful. Sometimes the greatest strength is shown in simply holding on when everything around you is falling apart. It's in those quiet moments when you choose to take one more step, try one more time, believe for one more day. We often miss our own strengths because we're looking for it in the wrong places. We expect it to look like confidence, to feel like certainty, to appear as unwavering determination, but real strength often looks like trembling hands that keep reaching. It looks like a shaky voice that still speaks up. It looks like tear-filled eyes that still search for light in the darkness. Think about the parent who's terrified of failure but still shows up every day for their children. Think about the individual battling invisible illnesses who still manages to smile and encourage others. Think about the person who's been knocked down countless times but still believes in the possibility of rising again. That's not just survival, that's magnificent courage in action. You see, we've been taught to view strength through such a limited lens. We think it's about never showing fear, never feeling doubt, never experiencing uncertainty. But what if true strength is about acknowledging our fears and moving forward anyway? What if it's about embracing our doubts and still taking action? What if it's about accepting uncertainty as part of the journey rather than an obstacle to it? When was the last time you acknowledged the strength it took to simply make it through a difficult day? When did you last recognize the courage it required to face your fears, even if your voice was shaking? When did you last celebrate the resilience it demonstrated to try again after failure? Most of us are so focused on where we want to be that we forget to honor how far we've come. We're so fixated on our destination that we miss the miracle of our journey. We're so consumed by our goals that we overlook the growth that's happening right now. In this moment, as we continue to choose life despite its challenges, there's something crucial to understand. Your strength isn't diminished by your need for help. Your courage isn't lessened by your moments of weakness. Your resilience isn't reduced by your periods of doubt. In fact, it's often in these very moments when we're vulnerable enough to admit we can't do it alone, when we're honest enough to acknowledge our struggles, when we're brave enough to ask for support, that we demonstrate the most profound kind of strength. Think about that for a moment. Think about the strength it takes to admit you're not okay when the world pressures you to always be fine. Think about the courage required to reach out for help when society celebrates self-sufficiency above all else. Think about the resilience needed to keep believing in healing when your wounds are still fresh. But some of you might be thinking, I've tried to be strong for so long and I'm tired. I'm exhausted from always having to be resilient. And to you, I say, your exhaustion doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The fact that you're tired of being strong doesn't diminish the strength you've shown. Sometimes the strongest thing we can do is admit when we need rest, when we need help, we need to let others carry us for a while. It's not about never needing support. It's not about never feeling tired. It's not about never wanting to give up. True strength is about recognizing these feelings, honoring them, and still choosing to continue your journey. Even if that means taking a break, even if that means asking for help, even if that means going slower than you'd like. Your strength isn't measured by how few breaks you need, but by how you use those breaks to replenish yourself. It's not measured by how rarely you need help, but by how willing you are to accept support when you do need it. It's not measured by how seldom you want to give up, but by how you keep going, even when giving up seems like the easiest option. We need to start redefining what strength looks like. We need to recognize that strength isn't always loud and visible. Sometimes it's quiet and subtle. Sometimes it's in the whisper Jesus to life when everything inside wants to scream. No. Sometimes it's in the gentle persistence of showing up day after day, even when no one sees or celebrates your efforts. The most profound acts of strength often happen in complete solitude, witnessed by no one but ourselves. It's in those private moments of choice when you choose faith over fear, hope over despair, love over bitterness, that your true strength reveals itself. These moments don't make headlines, they don't earn applause, but they shape who you are and who you're becoming. Have you ever noticed how the people who've been through the most difficult experiences often carry the most light within them? How those who've faced the deepest darkness often shine the brightest? This isn't despite their struggles, it's because of their light doesn't come from avoiding shadows. It comes from learning to find their way through them. Well, see, here's what we often for. It's those people didn't become strong overnight. They didn't wake up one morning and suddenly know how to handle everything life threw at them. Their strength was built in moments just like the ones you're experiencing right now. Moments of choice, moments of perseverance, moments of quiet courage when giving up would have been easier. Think about the strength it takes to remain soft in a world that tries to harden you. Think about the courage required to keep your heart open when experience has taught you to close it. Think about the resilience needed to maintain hope when reality keeps testing your faith. These aren't just philosophical concepts. These are daily battles that many of us fight. And the very fact that you're still fighting them, still trying, still believing in the possibility of better, that's not weakness. That's not failure. That's remarkable strength in action. But perhaps you're thinking, I don't always win these battles. Sometimes I give in to bitterness. Sometimes I close my heart. Sometimes I lose hope. And to that, I say, your strength isn't measured by how many battles you win, but by how many times you choose to keep fighting. It's not about never falling into darkness, but about how many times you choose to search for light again. Consider for a moment what it means to be resilient. It doesn't mean bouncing back immediately from every setback. It doesn't mean never feeling the weight of your challenges. It means being able to bend without breaking. It means being able to feel the full depth of your pain while still holding on to the possibility of healing. You see, we often mistake resilience for immunity to pain. We think being strong means not feeling hurt, not experiencing doubt, not knowing fear. But true resilience isn't about becoming invulnerable. It's about learning to hold both your wounds and your hopes in the same heart. It's about acknowledging your pain while still choosing to believe in healing. How many times have you felt broken beyond repair, only to discover that you could heal? How many times have you thought you couldn't go on, only to find that you could take one more step? How many times have you believed you couldn't survive another loss, another disappointment, another failure, only to discover that survival was just the beginning of your transformation? Each of these experiences wasn't just about enduring, they were about evolving. They were about discovering depths of strength within yourself that you never knew existed until you were forced to find them. They were about realizing that you're not just surviving, you're continuously recreating yourself from the ashes of who you used to be. And here's what's crucial to understand. Your strength isn't just in the big moments of obvious triumph. It's in the countless small decisions you make every day. It's in choosing to be kind when the world has been cruel. It's in choosing to trust when experience has taught you to be suspicious. It's in choosing to try again when past attempts have ended in failure. These choices, these seemingly small daily decisions, are actually revolutionary acts of courage. They're you choosing to write a different story than the one your past might have predicted. They're you deciding that your future isn't limited by what's happened to you, but is shaped by how you choose to respond to it. And yes, sometimes these choices are exhausting. Sometimes maintaining hope feels like trying to keep a flame alive in a storm. Sometimes choosing love feels like offering water from an empty well. Sometimes believing in better possibilities feels like planting seeds in frozen ground. The very fact that you continue to make these choices, even when they're hard, even when they hurt, even when no one else sees or understands, that's not just survival. That's not just resilience. That's the kind of strength that changes not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. Every single person in this room has a story of survival that deserves to be honored. Not just the dramatic moments of victory, but the quiet moments of choosing to continue when stopping would have been easier. The moments when you chose kindness despite being treated with cruelty. The moments when you chose hope despite having every reason to despair. Your story isn't just about what happened to you. It's about how you chose to respond. It's about how you've taken your pain and transformed it into wisdom. How you've taken your struggles and turned them into strength. How you've taken your experiences and used them to develop deeper compassion, greater understanding, and more authentic connections with others. But perhaps the most powerful part of your story isn't what you've overcome. It's who you've become in the process. Because survival isn't just about making it through. It's about how the journey changes you, shapes you, transforms you into someone who not only endures, but evolves. Think about who you were before your challenges began. Think about who you are now, the difference between these two versions of yourself. That's not just time passing. That's not just age or experience. That's transformation. That's growth. That's the evidence of your strength manifesting in ways you might not even recognize. You're stronger now, not because you've avoided pain, but because you've learned how to carry it. You're wiser now, not because you've escaped mistakes, but because you've learned from them. You're more compassionate now, not because you've never been hurt, but because you understand what it means to need compassion. These aren't small achievements. This isn't just getting by. This is the profound work of becoming of taking everything life has thrown at you and using it as material to build something meaningful, something purposeful, something that matters. But here's what I want you to understand most deeply. Your strength isn't something you need to prove to anyone. It's not something you need to demonstrate or defend. It's already there, evident every breath you take, every step you make, every time you choose to continue despite having every reason to stop. The question isn't whether you're strong enough. You've already proven that by surviving everything that could have broken you. The question is, will you finally acknowledge this strength? Will you honor it? Will you allow yourself to recognize the warrior within who has carried you through every battle, every struggle, every moment of doubt? The world doesn't need you to be stronger. You already are strong enough. What the world needs is for you to recognize this strength, to own it, to use it consciously and purposefully, to understand that your survival isn't just about you. It's about every life you touch, every person you inspire, every heart you help to heal through your example. Your strength isn't just your shield. It's your gift to the world. It's in how you show others that survival is possible. It's in how you demonstrate that healing can happen. It's in how you prove that transformation isn't just a concept. It's a reality that each of us can achieve. So I challenge you today. Stop waiting to feel strong enough. Stop waiting to be ready enough. Stop waiting to be healed enough. You are already all of these things, not despite your struggles, but because of them. Your wounds aren't your weakness. They're the places where your strength has grown the most. Every time you choose love over fear, you're strong. Every time you choose hope over despair, you're strong. Every time you choose to try again despite past failures, you're strong. These aren't small choices. They're revolutionary acts of courage that deserve to be recognized and celebrated. Your strength isn't in spite of your struggles. It's because of them. Your resilience isn't despite your challenges. It's because of them. Your wisdom isn't separate from your wounds. It's born from them. This is the alchemy of survival. Turning pain into power, struggles into strength, wounds into wisdom. So stand tall in your truth. Own your journey. Honor your resilience. Celebrate your survival, because you're not just surviving. You're showing others what's possible. You're not just enduring, you're evolving. You're not just getting by, you're transforming, and that transformation, that's not just your victory, it's your gift to the world. Every time you choose to keep going, you make it easier for someone else to do the same. Every time you choose to believe in better possibilities, you make it easier for someone else to hold on to hope. Every time you choose to rise again, you show someone else that rising is possible. This is your legacy. This is your light. This is your strength. Not just surviving, but showing others how to survive. Not just healing, but helping others believe in healing. Not just transforming, but inspiring transformation in everyone your story touches. You are not just a survivor. You are a beacon of hope, a testament to resilience, a living proof that strength isn't about avoiding struggles, but about how we choose to move through them. And that choice, that's something you make every single day. That's something you've already made by being here, by continuing to seek growth, by refusing to let your past define your future. So stand in your strength, own your resilience, honor your journey, because you're not just surviving, you're showing others what's possible. And that possibility, that's the greatest gift your strength could ever offer to the world.